こんにちは. In this video, we'll be learning how to make the te form for adjectives and nouns. We'll also learn how to use the te form to describe someone or something, using more than one adjective or noun. For example, Shiro is cute and kind. At the end of this video, you can test your knowledge with some quizzes. Let's learn how to make the te forms for adjectives and nouns. First of all, remember that adjectives in Japanese have two types, e-adjectives and na-adjectives. For e-adjectives like 大きい, big, we simply drop the final e and add KUTE to create the te form. So 大きい becomes 大きくて in the te form. How about 小さい, small? Again, drop the final e and add KUTE. So 小さい becomes 小さくて in the te form. There is one exception to the rule about te forms. The adjective e, good, is an exception. Its te form is よくて. This exception occurs because e was originally 良い in Old Japanese. The pronunciation changed to e over time, but the te form remained よくて. You see that it drops the final e of 良い and adds くて. For na-adjectives, we simply add で. For example, 元気, energetic or healthy becomes 元気で in the te form. Another example is きれい, clean or beautiful. Again, we simply add で. So きれい becomes きれいで in the te form. Let's move on to nouns next. The te forms for nouns are the same as the te form for na-adjectives. So to make the te form for 日本人, Japanese person, as an example, we simply add で. So the noun 日本人 becomes 日本人で in the te form. Another example is 学生, student. Again, we add で. So the noun 学生 becomes 学生で in the te form. Now let's see how te forms are used. It's often used to describe someone with more than one adjective or noun. Let's see some examples. How do we say someone is cute and kind? Cute is かわいいです and kind is 優しいです. So to connect two adjectives in a sentence, we use the te form for the first adjective and leave the last adjective as is. So cute and kind is かわいくて優しいです. かわいくて優しいです. Next, let's say you want to describe a restaurant as inexpensive and tasty. Its inexpensive is 安いです. Its tasty is おいしいです. Again, we use the te form for the first adjective and leave the last adjective as is. So, it's inexpensive and tasty is 安くておいしいです. 安くておいしいです. What if you want to describe a restaurant with three adjectives? Close, like near your house, inexpensive, and tasty. Close is 近いです. Inexpensive is 安いです. And tasty is おいしいです. So to connect three adjectives in a sentence, we change the first and second adjectives to their te forms, and we leave the last adjective as is. So it's close, inexpensive, and tasty is 近くて安くておいしいです. 近くて安くておいしいです. Now, how do we say he is energetic and funny? Notice that energetic is a na adjective. He's energetic is genki desu, and he's funny is omoshiroi desu. So we simply use the te form of the na adjective and leave the last adjective as is. So energetic and funny is genki de omoshiroi desu. Genki de omoshiroi desu. What if we switch the order and say he's funny and energetic? Notice that this time funny, omoshiroi came first, which is an e adjective. The idea is still the same. We change the first adjective to its te form and leave the last adjective as is. So funny and energetic is 面白くて元気です。面白くて元気です。Now, let's say someone asks you how the restaurant was and you want to say it was inexpensive and tasty. We change the first adjective to its te form and then make only the last adjective past tense. So, it was inexpensive and tasty is 安くて美味しかったです。安くて美味しかったです。Now let's see an example with nouns. When you want to describe someone using two nouns like he is a Japanese and an engineer. He is Japanese is 日本人です and he's an engineer is エンジニアです。You use the te form of the first noun and leave the last noun as is. So, he's a Japanese and an engineer would be 日本人でエンジニアです。日本人でエンジニアです。In case you're wondering about the difference between the de particle and the to particle when connecting nouns, here's a quick explanation. When you connect nouns using the de particle, you're describing someone as having both of the listed nouns. For example, 日本人でエンジニア means the person is both Japanese and an engineer. On the other hand, when you connect nouns using the to particle, you're listing two separate items. For example, 日本人とエンジニア sounds like you're talking about two people, one who is a Japanese person and the other who is an engineer. It doesn't sound like you're describing someone who is both Japanese and an engineer. Now let's try some quizzes. Can you say ice cream is cold and tasty? アイスクリームは冷たくておいしいです。アイスクリームは冷たくておいしいです。Can you say Japanese convenience stores are convenient and enjoyable? 日本のコンビニは便利で楽しいです。日本のコンビニは便利で楽しいです。Can you say Shiro has a big head and short legs? シロは顔が大きくて足が短いです。シロは顔が大きくて足が短いです。Can you say Shiro likes anime and is good at illustration? シロはアニメが好きでイラストが上手です。シロはアニメが好きでイラストが上手です。Can you say Shiro is beautiful, smart, and kind? シロはきれいで頭が良くて優しいです。シロはきれいで頭が良くて優しいです。 Can you say, This one is a Ghibli movie and it was cute and interesting. これはジブリ映画で可愛くて面白かったです。これはジブリ映画で可愛くて面白かったです。Today we learned the te form for adjectives and nouns. ありがとうございます。